Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. So, Battle for Zendikar is out, and we're already starting to see an impact from Zendikar products on the market. Now, expect some big changes in about another week or so once these cards start seeing some standard play, especially once the Open Series ends. Then we're going to see a better idea of how Zendikar is going to be impacting the format. But right now, there's already some early impact. So let's jump in and take a look. Start with the top 5 standard cards that have lost value this week. Number 5 is Liliana Heretical Healer, and she lost 66 cents, bringing her down to $16.97. Not a huge drop, but I've been kind of saying all along, the amount of plays she's been seeing, she's more of a $15, $16 card than where she was at the $20 to $25 level. Now, that could change post-rotation, so keep an eye on this one. I wouldn't be surprised if she sees a little more play and shoots up a little bit in the next few weeks, but if there isn't a deck that makes use of her, then she may continue to drop at least a little bit more. Number 4 is Tassiker the Golden Fang. He lost 73 cents, bringing him down to $6.81. So Tassiker is seeing tons of play. He's still seeing play in Standard, and he will continue to. He's seeing Modern play. But really, the reason for this drop is there is a Tassiker, a copy of him, included in the Battle for Zendikar event deck. So these event decks go out to hobby shops. The main intention of them is if I go to my Friday Night Magic and I don't have a standard deck, I can buy this and kind of sort of be maybe kind of competitive. And if you're interested in learning more, I do have a video talking about the deck list of the product on the channel, so definitely check that out. But whenever you come up with a product and you put more copies of a card out there, it's going to go down in price, and that's what's happening to Tassiker. So these products will be out there. They're already out there. They're being sold. So Tassiker is probably going to see more of a drop. I wouldn't be surprised if he falls down to $3, $4 range just because of the extra copies out there. But he's still a good long-term investment. You know this card's still going to see use in Modern in the future. And it's a great cube card. It's a great commander card. So don't feel like you don't want to pick these up, especially when it gets down to the $5 mark. Next is Thoughtseize. It lost 76 cents, bringing it down to $20.99. So Thoughtseize is rotating out of Standard, and that's why we're seeing a little bit of a dip here. It's still a huge card, huge card in Modern, so don't worry about this. This is just a little bit of stabilization. It's going to just start creeping back up again. In particular, we're looking at the Theros version of the card, which some people do prefer this one, but others do prefer the Lorwyn version. So the Theros version is one that took the biggest hit this time. Number 2 is Nissa Vastwood Seer, and she went down $1.04, bringing her to $23. Now, her price is pretty high. $23 I think is pretty reasonable for her, maybe even still a little high, but I do think she's going to see some play, some continued play, I should say, in Standard now that we're moving into the post-rotation. She did see some play, and I think with landfall possibly being a thing, she could potentially see some more play. She ramps, she puts a land into play, she does all the things you would think you'd want her to do in the post-Zendikar environment. So keep an eye on this one. This could go up again. Hangerback Walker. So this is number 1 for the week. It dropped $1.22, bringing it to $15.83. It's seeing tons of Standard play. It's seeing tons of Modern play. It's seeing Vintage and Legacy play. So why is this going down? Again, a copy of this is included in the Battle for Zendikar event deck. So hey, kudos to Wizards for including cards like this and Tassiker that are Standard staples, that even if you're not interested in playing the event deck, it's just another way to get your hands on some of these cards. Really cool that they did this. It just really lets players get these cards in their hands and keeps the price in check and keeps Standard a little bit easier to get into. Now let's look at the top 5 Standard cards that gained value this week. Number 5 is Hardened Scales, and it's gone up 82 cents, bringing it to $5.34. You could have got this card for about $2 a couple weeks ago, but there's a lot of speculation this is going to be great in the new Standard environment with allies. I think there's going to be a Standard ally deck. I think there's a good chance it's going to revolve around Rally the Ancestors, and this is just a one drop you can put out in the first turn and just makes your future plays better. Number 4 is Den Protector, and it's gone up 85 cents, bringing it to 9.95. And this has just been a great ability in Magic ever since Regrowth was printed. So here's a copy in Standard that you can basically bring something back from your graveyard to your hand. It's gonna be good. So I don't know what else to say about this one. If you don't have these and you need them to play for Standard, I think it's going to continue to go up. So you probably just have to bite the bullet and pay the $10 for each copy of this. But it's a very good card, and potentially, too, in the future, could see more modern play. Next is Anafenza the Foremost. So here's another card that you're seeing a little speculation. It's going to go up $1.11 this week, bringing it up to $5.67. So still quite affordable, especially for a Mythic Rare. I mean, a lot of Concept Art here was open, so a lot of the good cards and cons are still very, very affordable. So if you haven't picked up playsets, not a bad investment, especially if in another few weeks they may become standard staples. Next, we have Atarka's a command. This gone up another $1.50 to $7.61. All the commands have been pretty hot. This one maybe is the hottest right now. Again, it just does so much. It's so versatile. It just works really well in not just standard, but also in modern. I would encourage anyone who hasn't picked up play sets of the commands yet to do so. As the metagame shifts in both standard and modern, any of these commands could kind of rise to the top. And our number one card that gained value this week, probably no surprise, Jace Avern's Prodigy, seeing play everywhere in Standard and in Modern. It's gone up another $4.76, bringing it to $53.35. This card just doesn't quit. At one point, I think it maybe dipped down to like $28 or something like that, but it's been pretty strong. Post-rotation is going to continue to be strong just because its ability is so strong on the legendary creature side. The Planeswalker side isn't super exciting, but the legendary creature side is really good for 2 mana, and that's what's going to keep propelling this card forward, at least for a while. We'll keep an eye out and see what happens after rotation, but I think since we've lost so many cards, this just gets even better. All right, let's take a closer look at Modern. Here's the top 5 cards that lost value this week. Number 5 is a Sword of Fire and Ice, lost 63 cents, bringing it down to 45.05. In particular, this is the Dark Steel version. I don't know what to say about this one. I mean, this is just normal fluctuation. Right now, there aren't a lot of modern decks that are doing real well in the metagame that are running swords at all, so that's probably why some of this is dropped a little bit, but it's still a great card. I mean, don't worry about its value. Number 4 is Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. This in particular is the Kamigawa version, and it lost 69 cents, bringing it down to $14.49. Again, you see these drops in Modern aren't very big. There weren't many huge changes in Modern this week. Now, Kiki-Jiki, recently I've seen that the Splinter Twin decks are not really running him as much anymore like they used to. And I just think the format's just getting faster as more cards get poured into the modern card pool. Kiki-Jiki's just a little too expensive for what he does when you can do the same thing with Splinter Twin. You just don't have the kind of redundancy. But that's okay because that deck's doing other stuff with its spots. So, yeah, I don't know. Kiki-Jiki might continue to fall. I wouldn't be completely shocked if this became an $8, $10 card in the future, as if a competitive Splinter Twin deck doesn't start running it again, but I kind of think its day has passed. Number 3 is Emrakul of the Eon's Torn. Lost 78 cents, bringing it down to 35.17. This is the Rise of the Eldrazi version, and Modern Masters 2015 just dumped more copies of this into the environment, so we're still seeing some waves from that. The thing with this card is you don't want more than one copy. When you play it in Modern Tron, you play one copy. It's a great cube card. Again, you only need one copy. So it's not a card you're trying to get 4 ofs in your deck. So once Modern Masters came out, put more into the environment, it's dropped a little bit, but it's still a very high valued card at $35. Next is Sower of Temptation. It's lost 79 cents, bringing it down to $22.69. This is a fantastic card, but right now it's just not seeing a whole ton of modern play. It did for a while. Blue, or like a mono blue type deck, isn't really out there right now, or at least not more than a fringe deck. So I think that's why this is dropping just a little bit. Still a fantastic card. This is an awesome cube card, great commander card. Don't worry about the value of this thing. It's not going to dip much below this, but yeah, I just think we're seeing just fluctuations due to metagame. And the number one card is basically the same story, Cryptic Command. Now, this was reprinted in Modern Masters 2015, which could be part of the drop as well. We're looking in particular at the Lorwyn version here. It lost $1.67, bring it down to $35.63. All right, let's look at the top 5 Modern cards that gained value this week. Coming in at number 5 is Ensnaring Bridge, and it went up 70 cents, bringing it up to $21.27. This is the 8th edition version that we're looking at, and Ensnaring Bridge is part of a modern deck that kind of swept in and took a big tournament a few weeks back. And I do think there's going to be some legs on this deck, so watch for this card to continue to go up. My only concern is the deck that's running it is a little slow and grindy. It's not eggs by any means, so I don't know for sure that there's going to be bannings to kind of take this deck apart. But I want to be shocked as we get further into the season, maybe closer to Modern Pro Tours that come up in the future. If this deck continues to thrive and become too popular and make for some longer games, I wouldn't be completely shocked if this card or another piece of it gets banned. If that's the case, then of course it's going to lose a ton of value. So this one's a little risky as an investment. But if you want to play this deck and you want to jump in and do something a little different in Modern that's proven pretty successful, check it out. The other thing that could happen is the metagame could shift. People could sideboard more against this, which quite honestly probably will happen just because there's a lot of artifacts in this deck, and another big deck right now in Modern is Affinity, and I think folks are getting wise to that and sideboards are changing. So this one will be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks. Speaking of Affinity, here's Arcbound Ravager. It's gone up 73 cents, bringing it to $44.65, just for the same reason I mentioned. Affinity right now is a big deck. This card baffles me, though. It seems like it goes up one week, down the next week, but it is slowly climbing. It's going up more than it's losing every time. So it's up to almost $45 now. It was a $40 card a few weeks ago. Next is Goryo's Vengeance, and this is back. It kind of took a little hiatus from our top 5 list, but it's back with a vengeance, going up 78 cents, bringing it to $35.29. So even though it's gone up this week, it's really been steady around the $30, $36 mark. And again, this will go as this particular deck goes. It is a very popular deck, and it could see some steam if people do begin sideboarding more for artifacts. Number 2 is Scalding Tarn, coming in at $78.97. It increased by $1.40. And I don't know, it's the story of these fetch lands. They're just out of control. These Zendikar fetch lands are nuts. And I'd hate to say go out and buy these things. They're going to keep going up in price until they're reprinted. We just don't know when they're going to be reprinted. It could be the next block. It could be the block after. Who knows? So if you need them for Modern, you're kind of stuck either paying the big price tag or trying to use a different fetch land that is cheaper but maybe isn't quite as efficient. So I don't know. Long-term investment-wise, I can't guarantee this is going to be a great long-term investment just because of the fact that we know it's going to be reprinted. And when it does, it's going to be in pretty big quantities. And it's going to take a while probably for it to get back to where it was. I mean, kind of look at the Onslaught fetch lands, and that will give you an idea of what to expect from these in the future. So that's Scalding Tarn. It's the most popular of them all right now, with blue and red being the colors. And it's basically the story of these. And our number 1 card that increased this week is Crucible of Worlds. This is the 10th edition version of it. It went up $1.42, bringing it to $42.87. And so the lands decks are definitely a thing in not only Modern, but Legacy. Legacy is seeing a lot of play with Crucible of Worlds, so I think it's driving the price a little bit, maybe more so than even Modern decks at this point. But it's also a great casual card. It's a fantastic card for cubes. There's commander decks that can run stuff like this. So, yeah, very good card. Keep an eye on this one. It's probably going to keep creeping up. And that's the Market Watch for this week. So hope that helps. Hope everyone enjoys brewing with the new cards this week. And I think we're going to see some big changes in the Market Watch starting in another week or so once people get a better grasp on what the metagame is going to look like. I think card values are really going to start to fluctuate. So keep an eye out. We'll be back next week with a new episode. And as always, please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. These videos are made possible by viewers just like you through Patreon. Please check out our Patreon page by clicking on the top right. Down below, we have more links to quality Magic the Gathering content. And if you're interested in seeing trading cards open that aren't Magic the Gathering, check out the link to our trading card channel, Heroes and Legends Trading Cards. Thanks and have a great day.